paradise, and this is Chessable Masters. Blitz game number 2, must win for Anish. And here we go with the black pieces for Anish.
Interesting. Pragg develops his knight first, so he goes for the reti. Remember that Anish won in the King's Indian defence and a must-win situation with black, so he's been here before, but Pragg doesn't go for the same variation. Pragg doesn't occupy the centre with pawns. He's gone for what we call the double fianchetto. Look at the 2 white bishops on nice long diagonals, and this is regarded as a much safer line, a much less risky line than the one Pragg chose previously. It's up to Anish to create something. He needs to win with black. Never easy to do so. And white's king, very, very safe in this formation.
I think this is following the game, is it Magnus versus Jordan? I'm pretty sure that this, in the last tour, which ended up in a draw, but A5 is the first new move, I think, being played by Anish. It looks like they're moving a bit quicker now as well, which is a good sign, because maybe they adjusted a bit after that first game. But black winning this is going to be tough.
Yeah, they're in the zone now. You can tell Anish is definitely in the zone. As Simon says, though, winning this position is tough because white has no weaknesses. And, OK, Pragg develops his knight, stopping the black A-pawn from advancing further, but also getting ready to push more pawns in the centre for white. It's just very, very simple, logical play now for both sides. And I think that suits Pragg as white because he only needs a draw. OK, Giri gets ready to push a pawn in the centre. I expect Pragg to do the same. Maybe he'll push a pawn now.
It would be logical to do that, but he's taking his time before he makes that decision. And, yep. And, well, Pragnanda has a choice here. I think he should, if he wants to play it safe, probably the best thing is to capture the pawn in the middle.
Trade off a set of pawns in the centre. Don't let any imbalances happen. We saw when it was really blocked up, Giri outplayed him in the last game. Giri also outplayed him last month in a blocked-up structure. So I don't think Pragg should try to be too ambitious here. Trade things off, as Jovanka mentions. Just make the pawn structure symmetrical if you can. I think that's a good rule in general for viewers at home. Just don't take any risks. If you feel that you're playing against an opponent who might outmaneuver you or who has better nerves than you. And, OK, spending a bit of time now, though, Simon. Good moment to do that, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. He's got to try to decide what structures to go to, and I think I agree with both of you. Just this is the best move. You only need a draw, get a symmetrical structure. A draw becomes a lot more likely. Just put a rook on the open file, play some normal, natural moves. You don't need to really overthink this position quite yet. Again, I did say it's going to be hard for Anish to win. It looks, you know, these kind of positions, you need to play extremely well to get any advantage in. And much better opening choice, I think, this time for Pragg, rather than going into some messy, complex structure. He only needs a draw with the white pieces.
Yeah, it feels like he's definitely learnt from his defeat a couple of games ago. And I like this knight move. It looks a bit strange to bring the knight back to block the white queen, but the white knight is going to actually leap forward in front of its other knight, and those 2 white knights together will control a whole bunch of central squares. So Giri also re-manoeuvring his pieces. And, OK, Pragg blocks things up. You don't want to allow your opponent to gain too much space with their pawns, so you have to block with your pawn sometimes. And here we go, Giri trying to confuse Pragg, attacking the white queen. Will the white queen move? There we go. A pawn could also have blocked, but then white would have maybe loosened his own pawn structure. So the white queen safe and, yeah, simple on this square.
Remember, Anish, he has to win this game to take it to an Armageddon tiebreak game. Pragg, he needs a draw, and now the bar goes up for him.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's gone up that much. I quite like white's position, but it looks roughly balanced still. For now, the one thing I think that is really not great in Anish's position is the black knight on the left side of the board, because it can't jump anywhere. And look at white's queen now. It's putting some pressure on that knight, not attacking it, but that black knight now ties down the black queen. It's on a bad circuit. I don't think Anish likes his position.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm really impressed by Pragnanda's play. I love the way he's placed his queen on the 3rd row. And now he's just manoeuvring his knights around. I was thinking that he actually might manoeuvre the c3 knight away. Let's move it somewhere to put pressure. But so far, model play by Pragnananda.
Yeah, not taking any risks. And we talked about symmetry. This pawn structure, if you look at the right half of the board, completely symmetrical. Left side of the board, almost symmetrical. Simply no weaknesses in Pragnanada's position. How is Giri ever going to win this game? he will need to hope that Pragg cracks under the pressure, under the tension later. OK, black's now, his knights are remanoeuvring around, and it might be time for your idea, Jovanka, remaneuver the other white knight or the white dark-squared bishop. Or you could make an argument for kind of stacking up the white rooks in the central line on the d-file.
I think black was going to reroute his bishop, so this is also quite clever maybe, because now black maybe wanted to get that bishop around the angles, and you can just exchange off more pieces now, stopping black's bishop getting out. At the moment, black's dark squared bishop, the one in front of his king, is just looking at a pawn, so it's kind of blocked in. And this last move, it kind of indicates that Anish hasn't really got much he can do here. So this is, you know, especially after that one, it's looking at the moment like Pragg is keeping everything really well under control here and probably has a better position.
Yeah. That white bishop, that white dark square bishop is like a bone in the throat of Anish Giri's position. How is he going to remove it? He has to trade off later on. Here we go, just defending everything. Look at the two kings, symmetry again, because that is the safest square for them. Having a king on this square, Anish tried it in the last game as well. It's very effective. It's very safe usually. And I'm expecting Anish to, as Simon mentioned, at some point try to use the black dark square bishop to trade off white's very strong bishop there. But not easy to arrange, maybe. Black central pawn also under fire. It's all about Pragg in this position.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I actually see Anish Giri actually tweeted before the Blitz tiebreak started. He wrote "Grandpa fighting" after winning in game 4. He definitely is older than Pragg, even if Anish is still very young. But the 16-year-old, it's looking good for him, I guess, then, to get that draw and get to the big final.
It's looking very good. Anish is only 10 years older than Pragg, but he's been around forever, Anish Giri. He's been one of the world's elite for a long, long time.
Grandpa fighting and grandpa thinking right now.
It's very hard for black to do anything here. That's the problem. While white has maybe some moves where he can improve, like I think you mentioned just doubling the rooks here. White can take over that open file. So, whoa, look at this. Whoa. This is a weird move. I mean, don't take the bishop is the first thing to avoid.
We can show this quickly while Pragg thinks. This is just a poisoned bishop, simply. This bishop's moved to this square willingly. Of course, it's a one-move trap. If you take it, the black knight jumps forward with a check and winning the white queen on the next move. So, of course, that bishop cannot be touched, but the problem is it can just be ignored as well. Pragg happy to move his rook forward. Now he's going to stack up his rooks on the open file. Giri's whole idea is that after dropping his bishop back, the reason he got his bishop out of the way is that his rook defends this central pawn. So now he's hoping to trade bishops, and at least if the white bishop disappears, he has much more room to breathe. Meanwhile, this black bishop is weirdly placed, and it will continue to be for the next few moves. We'll see a bishop trade on this square in a moment, and still Giri under some pressure. Pragg rock solid as white.
Clever idea, though. I mean, I think this is the only way that black could get this exchange of bishops off. So, you know, nice sort of thinking there, but must still be white with the advantage because of this open file and just the central squares that he controls here in the position. Maybe you can move your king back now, just make your opponent take your knight even. Something like this. Weird move, you know, get out. And he has. He's moved his king back, so...
Crystal ball, Simon.
Just make that bishop move now, because you're threatening to take it in this position. So, but I don't see how Anish is going to win this at the moment, but they are both under 2 minutes, so it is possible.
There's so many pieces around and pawns and everything around that white king.
Yeah, that's, I think, exactly why Pragg chose this opening, and a very good choice. When you only need a draw with white, why not just kind of set up this beautiful structure where you'll never, ever get checkmated? Meanwhile, I do like what Anish has done, at least to alleviate the pressure. Now, after these sets of trades, 2 sets of minor pieces have come off the board, and white's rooks are dominant, but there's nowhere for them to actually go. And sometimes there will be threats of breaking the connection between the 2 white rooks. And yeah, I'm expecting Pragg now to maybe retreat. He pushes Harry the H-pawn.
I'm normally a big fan of this move, but here I wasn't so sure about that. I actually expected the bishop to relocate to a better diagonal. And now Anish is doing what he should do, improve the placing of the knights.
That black knight maneuver is actually going to be very strong. Watch out for that black knight to leap forward into the centre of the board and then into the d4 square. If you look at the d4 square, that's a dream for black's knights. Pragg, meanwhile, retreating. It feels like he's getting a bit nervous, though.
Definitely. I mean, it feels like Anish is showing a bit of his experience, taking over a little bit. He was definitely worse, and now, I mean, I was going to say, is he better? But I don't. I mean, he might be at least equal now. White's bishop is not a great piece in these positions, and I think Ivanka's idea of rerouting it also made a lot of sense. Maybe he could still try that at some point, but Black's comfortable now at least.
Yeah, Black's very, very comfortable. I think the main thing for Black was because he was cramped earlier. We talked about Black having a lack of space. He's traded stuff off, and he continues to do so. He offers a trade of all of the rooks. I mean, if I were in a must-win situation, I don't think I would have rushed this decision. This decision he could have gone for over the next few turns, but now, if I were Pragg, I would just hurry to trade off all the rooks. I would just be saying, thank you. You've made my plan a lot clearer. I'm heading towards the draw.
Yeah, Pragg has also ticked under the minute, so getting rid of pieces must be a great idea.
Yeah, for Pragg.
Yeah, it means that he'll get some extra time, but no, he chooses to take a step back with the rook.
Standing his ground.
Going very passive though, isn't he, as well, with these moves? So it's, I mean, you don't, when you've got to draw, you know, don't go too passive, and they're both getting under a minute now, really, but it's Pragg who's much shorter time, 40 seconds left, and he's going the wrong way in this game. Things are going slightly wrong for him.
His track record with White against Giri is not good. He lost a couple of times in the tour last month, and now lost again a couple of games ago. Normally, Pragg is great with White, but against Giri, somehow not so easy. And OK, a trade of one set of rooks. It's still roughly in the balanced, but Black is the one who has made progress over the last 15 moves.
Well, it is that problem, right? When you only need a draw and then you play too much on the draw,
You get
goes
nervous.
horribly wrong.
Yeah, you take negative decisions. And we praised his opening. His middle game was great as well. But after that, just retreating slightly, swapping the wrong pieces. Now the Black Queen inching her way forward. Interesting decision.
It is setting up a trick, is it? Or
I think a nasty trick in the position, maybe just while Pragg... Oh, he's down to 20 seconds. Maybe we can show this quickly. Ivanka's idea, queen takes pawn. OK, it would have been a blunder taking this pawn, I think, because the knight jumps out the way, attacking the queen, but also attacking this bishop. And there's no real safe way you can defend. So, OK, of course, Pragg dodged that. He dropped his bishop back to a nice safe square. But now the black knights are jumping in. This square could be used at some point. Now the two black knights are ganged up against this pawn. It's all about the knights and their dancing. Are they going to create enough for Anish Giri to win this game?
He maybe can even offer an exchange of queens, which generally you don't want to do when you're trying to win. But the black queen might be able to come down 2 squares. But look at the time as well. They're both now under 20 seconds. With black probably having a more comfortable position, but he's got to move. Yeah. He's going for some tricks. He's going for the mating ideas now.
So this black knight is threatening the f2 pawn. That white pawn on the f2 square only defended by white's king. OK, good move, I think, from Pragg. Getting his knight out the way. The white rook now defends along the second rank.
Yeah, I think both sides kind of have to get into defensive mode. And, well, Anish carries on with manoeuvring the knight. And the knight is threatening to jump forward. And all sorts of attacks happening. Bishop comes to attack. Knight is in the middle.
Yeah, there was a massive trick in the last position. White's rook was attacked. If white's rook had gone up to capture the black rook, the black queen would have come in with a nasty checkmate. But look at this. Every move from Giri is a threat. The white queen was attacked, stepped back, and now protecting his own knight, Giri. We do see a trade, however.
Oh, what's happening here?
Oh,
I think he's won a pawn. White's won a pawn.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible.
Giri, I think he attacked one move too many, and now he's just dropped the pawn. Not just that, the queens are off. Pragg is almost safe now. He's almost home.
That was so quick.
That was so quick.
Blink and you miss it. It was like the speed they moved those tactics, incredible. And he's a pawn up in an ending now. This must surely be the end. And it's a very good pawn as well.
Look at this white A pawn. This white A pawn is running up the board, and Giri leans back. He knows this one is almost over, and he's given up. Pragg takes it.
Wow! 16-year-old Pragg is ready for the final in Chessable Masters, knocking out Anish Giri.